How did my addiction to methamphetamine, cocaine, oxys, and Xanax affect the relationship with my mother and father? What's up, you guys? My name's Nicole Pludre. I'm a person in recovery. I've been sober for 9 years. I used to shoot a lot of motherfucking meth. And I'm your resident old school tweaker. I love talking about geeking, tweaking, and peeking, but today we're going to get a little serious. And this video is going to be about my mom and dad and my relationship with my mom and dad. So you're going to learn a lot about my backstory in this video. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So the comment that is provoking me to make this video is this comment right here by Scrunchy Moms Club. Let's read it together. It says, the emotions you're feeling when you talk about your son hopefully not using. Just wondering if you ever apologized to your parents for the pain you put them through when you were in active addiction. So first and foremost, yes, I have 100% apologized to my mom and dad over and over and over again with my mouth, verbally, right? But something that I learned in my recovery is that my mom and dad were used to hearing me say I'm sorry because I said it all the time, and it started to not mean a motherfucking thing. Because I would say I was sorry, and then I would go out and I would repeat the same damn behavior over and over and over again. My sorries didn't hold weight. My sorries didn't matter to my mom and dad. And so honestly, hearing me say I'm sorry and apologizing to them, it was just another Tuesday afternoon. What made my mom and dad realize that I had truly changed was me showing them through my actions. So let's get into it. First of all, my mom and dad are both still married to each other. My mom and dad were in the military. They fell in love in the Air Force. They were fighting over the last piece of pizza. And my dad was like, oh yeah, that's a woman after my own heart. She likes to eat. So y'all know where I get it from. I get it from my mama and I get it from my daddy. We all love to eat. That's why I struggled with my weight at a young age. My mom is Mexican, straight up speaks Spanish, like had to learn. Spanish was her first language. She had to learn to speak English. The way she was taught was by the nuns at Catholic school. They would slap her knuckles with a ruler if she spoke Spanish. That's how my mom learned how to speak English. My dad is Italian, but not from across the, not from on the boat, from Brooklyn, New York. Born and raised. And then when he got older, they moved to Long Island when he was around 17 years old. My parents were both stationed at Jacksonville Air Force Base here in Arkansas, and that is how we ended up in Arkansas. They fell in love, got pregnant with me, and then had my 2 little sisters. When we were growing up, my mom and dad didn't understand addiction or mental health. And I also need you guys to understand, I'm 42, so I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, mental health and addiction was not talked about like it is now. It wasn't an open discussion kind of topic. It was actually something that was really looked like kind of down on. If you were somebody that struggled with mental health, you were just deemed crazy. If you're somebody that struggled with addiction, then you were nasty and dangerous and a criminal and, like, ooh, that's a person that's underneath a bridge with a needle hanging out of their arm. So growing up, my mom and dad didn't understand mental health or addiction. So when me and my sister, Michelle, who is my middle sister, I have two baby sisters. I'm the oldest, Michelle and Christine. When me and my sister, Michelle, both started exhibiting signs of struggling with addiction, my parents had no idea what to do. They tried to get my sister help for her mental health. And while they were doing that, my sister actually was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, antisocial personality disorder, something defiance disorder. Like, my parents had their hands full with my baby sister. She was struggling really bad, acting out with her mental health. And so what happened was I was kind of sneaking around and getting high while my parents were preoccupied trying to keep my sister from going to jail because she was in and out of juvenile jail. So anyway, that's how my addiction started. It started when I was a teenager. My mom took me to the doctor, not knowing that the medicine that the doctor gave me was, habit forming or addictive. And I started taking a drug called phentermine, which was for weight loss. It was an amphetamine pill. And once I started taking that, I really, really liked it. When I could no longer get the prescription, because I could only get it for 60 days, 2 months, I started to seek out drugs on the street. And I had already been dabbling because, like I said, my sister was running away from home. She was smoking a lot. She was bringing stuff home. I was going out with her. She was going out with me. Like, we were really double teaming my parents. Now, this is also really important for you guys to understand. There's 3 of us girls. I'm 42. Michelle is 40, about to be 41, and Christine is 39, about to be 40. So we were literally born like 14 months apart, like back to back. So my parents, when one would be fucking around, the other 2 would be running around behind because we knew our parents were preoccupied with the one. So we were acting a damn ass. Once my parents realized I had addiction, my sister Michelle had addiction, of course, they got us into treatment. They offered us help, and they could only offer, I graduated high school, and so I wouldn't really take help until I was around 23 or 24. And then it was like then I was in and out of treatment for the next 10, 12 years. In and out of treatment, relapse gets over, relapse gets over. My sister Michelle ended up doing the same kind of song and dance, only she was in and out of mental health institutions. Relapse gets over, relapse gets over. So when I finally got sober in 2015 for the long haul, for good, I went into treatment after getting my son taken from me by CPS. And when I came out of treatment, I got onto a medication called Suboxone, which is used to treat opiate use disorder. I had been trying to do abstinence-only recovery for over 10 years, in and out of AA and NA, okay, and rehabs. And every time I would get out, I would relapse. So I knew I had to do something different. My partner, my husband, had gotten put on Suboxone, and that is what saved his life. So I started taking it as well, prescribed from the doctor, and it saved my life. I'll never forget when I got 1 year sober. See, my parents had fled to New York because that's how bad my addiction, me and my sister's addiction, was affecting my parents. It was so bad that my dad was about to have a heart attack. So they went to New York for 3 years to live by my grandma and by my uncle so they could help with my grandma because she was getting older. This was right before she died. When I had a year sober, my mom and dad, I don't think they believed I really had a year sober because I had been trying to get sober for so many years, you guys. And like I said at the beginning of this video, sorry, it meant nothing. So 1 year had passed by, and so they decided to buy me, my son, and my husband train tickets to come up there and see him. We went up there and visited them for about 2 weeks, and that's when my mom and dad realized I was really sober. And so for that 2 weeks, I was able to show them through my actions that I was a different person. But for the next 6 years, I worked so hard to prove to my mom and dad that I was different. Every action, calling them, remembering their birthdays, showing up for family events, sober, that's how I showed my family. That's how I apologized. That's how I made amends, was by turning my life around. Because my sorry meant nothing. They had heard it so many times before. My relationship with my mom and dad is amazing. We have the best relationship. In fact, they just drove up here yesterday to visit me and my husband and my son and to bring my little boy. My mom sewed my little boy a Halloween bag to put all this candy in. And so they just came over yesterday to see us. They live down in Hot Springs, which is about 45 minutes away. But I see them all the time, and we're really close, and they have fully forgiven me. In fact, my dad says it's all in the past. He just wants to, experience me sober and enjoy what we have now. And so, because I used to not be able to stop apologizing. But finally, he told me, it's enough. You've showed us that you're different. And we're proud of you. So, There you go. That's the story.